We're here for March 3rd, March 4th. We got a whole lot of action today. We got tennis, we got soccer, we got NBA, and then me and the Dynamite will be in to do our college basketball picks for the night. So the action is heating up. The conference tournaments are starting to kick off, and we'll get into a little bit of college basketball action with Dynamite David. But first, let's start out for tennis, the ATP, the Rotterdam ABN AMRO World Tennis Tournament. We got two picks today. We're going to go with our man Alexander Bublik. We've been riding him pretty heavy the last handful of weeks. He made it all the way to the finals to the Singapore Open before he tapped out, and then he had a big win yesterday, so we're going to ride him versus the American Tommy Paul. Alexander Bublik, minus 140 versus Tommy Paul. Really like Bublik playing really good tennis right now, especially in these indoor hardcourt tournaments. So Bublik, minus 140, will continue to ride him. And then we're going to go with the favorite of the tournament, Stefanos Tsitsipas, minus 3.5, minus 155 versus Herbert Hurkacz. Really like Tsitsipas here. With all the top names going down pretty much in this tournament, it's his to lose, so I look for him to cruise pretty easy here. The 3.5 I like a little bit better than the 4.5 that it was yesterday, but still a little heavy, but I think he'll be able to take down Herbert Hurkacz, who we took the other day and had a nice win with, but we don't think he'll be able to stand on Tsitsipas' level. So let's move on to the soccer tomorrow. We're going to ride Tottenham pretty good here. We got Tottenham plus 210 to win nil versus Fulham. And then we got Heung-min Son goal scorer plus 150. So two bets on the Tottenham side here. They're going to win nil versus Fulham. Fulham really struggles to score. I'm thinking Tottenham really is going to go on a big run here, win a handful of games in a row, make maybe a push into that top four. I don't know if they gave themselves enough games to get in there, but I think they'll make their push here. So Tottenham plus 210 to win nil versus Fulham, and Heung-min Son to score plus 150. And then we're going to go to the EPL, the big game of the week, Liverpool versus Chelsea. We're going to take Liverpool here. They've struggled with bad center backs ever since Van Dijk, and then, and more Gomez going out, Matip going out, just a rotating thing, and then Henderson getting hurt, and it's just been more and more injuries, but I think Liverpool's about to go on a run as well here. I think that front line will be able to put pressure on Chelsea's back line, and I just look for things to work out here and Liverpool to right themselves a little bit towards the end of the year. So I like Liverpool plus 120 versus Chelsea here. I just haven't liked the way Chelsea has played under Tuchel. They do a whole lot of nothing. A lot of passes, not much scoring. That game last week versus Manchester United was just awful, and just haven't liked the way they look. They can't seem to settle on what they want their front line to be, and until that happens, I just don't see them getting it together. So one more game, we're going to go to the Copa del Rey. We're going to take Athletic Bilbao plus 155 to advance versus Levante. Just like the way Bilbao plays, this honestly might be Bilbao's tournament to lose. I think they could sneaky win this Copa del Rey with a Porto Barcelona team if they can get by Sevilla today. Just love the way Bilbao plays. So I like Bilbao to advance into the finals. Athletic Bilbao 155 versus Levante. Okay, let's get into the NBA. A lot of good games tonight. We're going to start out with the Utah Jazz minus 3.5 versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Great game. Just can't pass up Utah Jazz minus 3.5 with the way their win margin is. I just think they'll bounce back off that New Orleans win, much like New Orleans lost, much like they did versus the Miami Heat. They came back and bounced back versus the Orlando Magic. Now, Magic and Sixers, two totally different teams, but I just love this Utah Jazz team. They're going to move the ball, and I think they'll light up this Philadelphia 76ers team, and I think the Sixers will struggle to score on them, so just really, really like that minus 3.5 for the Utah Jazz. We're going to take the Portland Trailblazers plus 2 versus the Golden State Warriors. Portland has really struggled of late. just can't seem to find a rhythm. But part of that is health-wise. They just can't get C.J. McCollum or Yusuf Nurkic and everybody on the floor at the same time. But they've had their struggles, but I think they'll get back to a decent home win tonight. And +2 at home for Portland is just too good to pass up. And lastly, we're going to go with the Sacramento Kings -3.5 versus the Los Angeles Lakers. No James, no Davis tonight. No hope for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Sacramento Kings are the leaders of no hope other than maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I think they'll be able to get a win tonight pretty easily without James and Davis on that side. So Sacramento Kings -3.5. All right, let's bring in our man Dynamite David and get into the college basketball slate today. All right, we're here for the college basketball segment. Our man Dynamite David is with us to get the lowdown on what's the good picks today in college basketball. Dynamite, are you ready for some college basketball picks?
Yeah, I already got one out earlier on Twitter. If you had followed me there, got a good winner in St. Joseph. I like them. They're my dark horse in this tournament, so we'll see how far they can go.
Yeah. All right. So what do you got for us today, Dynamite?
I'm going to start off with my 2 underdog picks today. One, I'm actually both of them, I'm surprised they're getting points. I like NC State +2.5 at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's been really struggling to find their offense, and they've lost some games down the stretch, and I think NC State's the better team there. And then the other underdog that I'll take the points all day in this one is Missouri +4.5 at Florida. I think it's getting down to crunch time. This is going to be an ugly battle, and Missouri's the better team. I think they're going to get the win there.
Yeah, I saw that one. I almost went Missouri, and then I was like, I don't know, probably PTSD from taking Missouri from a 2-week stretch there when they seemed to lose every game. So I just couldn't quite pull the trigger.
One thing I saw was like their experience ranking against teams they've played. Florida was almost 300 and Missouri was in the top 30. So Missouri's played a much tougher competition. They're more prepared for these grind games, and I think that's going to help them win this one.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Next up, I've got a large favorite. I like San Diego State -9.5 at UNLV. This has actually moved quite a bit. I think it opened up at like -12 or 13, but I think San Diego State's a much better team. Probably the favorite going into their conference tournament, and they're going to beat up on UNLV tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I like St. John's, who's a really good team at home, -1.5 against Providence. I like Oregon -4.5 at home against UCLA. I think the home factor is going to be a big one here. I like Maryland -4.5 at Northwestern. This Northwestern team's only won 1 game this calendar year, and Maryland's won 5 straight. So I think they're going to go in and take care of business tonight and get a big win against Northwestern. And lastly, probably the biggest game of the night, I'm going to take Villanova -4.5 at home against Creighton. This one was really tough to pull the trigger on. It was sitting at 5.5 there for a while, and I was like, that's a bit too much, but then it crept down back to 4.5, and I'm like, I got to take Nova because they are I don't believe they've lost at home this year, so I'm going to take that.
Yeah, the 5.5 when I saw it was a little too high, but you're going for a double dose of Creighton Nova. You had Nova at Creighton. We'll see if they can get that one back for you. Yeah. I agreed with you on one of those. I have St. John's -1.5 versus Providence as well. I think every time we bet on St. John's, we both agree at the same time to take St. John's. So I don't know if St. John's probably is going to get into the tournament. That DePaul loss probably hurt them really bad. But if they could maybe sweep the bottom 2, Providence and Seton Hall, and make a little noise in the tournament, they might be able to sneak their way in. But they need this one. Providence has been playing pretty well. Nice win over Xavier last week. But I think the Johnnies at home is a pretty good bet, especially with that line at 1.5. Next up, we're going to go with Abilene Christian over Stephen F. Austin in a shootout in the Southland. The 2 best teams in the Southland. Abilene Christian coming off a very, very stunning loss to Central Arkansas. That spread was in the high 20s, and they somehow lost outright. I don't quite know how that happened other than Abilene Christian clinched this conference a while ago. But Stephen F. Austin also is coming off a pretty bad loss here. So They played earlier in the year. The two matched up, and Abilene Christian absolutely crushed them. They're going to Stephen F. Austin this time, but I think Abilene Christian is the better team here. So I'm going to ride Abilene Christian and getting the +1.5 here. I think that's pretty good value. And lastly, I talked myself into this one, but I'm not in love with it. But I'm going with Seton Hall at home +1.5 versus UConn.
That's one I looked at. I wanted to. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't make myself go away from them getting points at home, but every bit of me has said Seton Hall is a dead team, and you probably should stay away from them after their play of recent. They're off back-to-back losses to Georgetown and Butler. So,
well, these are both bubble teams, correct?
I would think so. I think if Seton Hall were to beat UConn, and Seton Hall has 2 wins over UConn, I don't know how you take UConn and not Seton Hall. So that was probably factored into a little bit of my logic of maybe Seton Hall can right the ship here. But those 2 losses to Georgetown and Butler back to back really are hurting me right now by taking Seton Hall today versus UConn. But I just couldn't pass up the points at home. So that's what I got. Those are my 3 college picks. Be sure to follow us on greenlightnetwork.org, Greenlight Network on Facebook and YouTube. Dynamite, where can we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at GLN_Dynamite_D. Probably be taking St. Joe's again tomorrow.
All right. He's going to ride the St. Joe's train until they go down. Probably do follow Dynamite David. We'll try to get this out a little earlier when more of the conference tournament games go down during the day, but we probably won't be able to get it out right on time for all those conference games starting up in the next couple days in the weeks ahead. So be sure to follow Dynamite. He'll tweet out any early games that we can't get the show out on. I'm GLN Champ 5 on Twitter and Instagram. That's our show, and we're out.